Who else wants an unfair advantage? Who else needs an unfair advantage like these people who made the commitment for themselves, not for me, not for a system, not for something, but for themselves? And that's what today is all about. You've gone through 4 days. You've completed the videos. They weren't really that hard to watch. And then you replied back in an email to me of what the feedback is of what you got out of it, how it worked, right? And so we went into the 4-second rule. We went into the 3 archetypes. We went into the mind force mission and moves. We went into the 3 tectonic shifts. We bundled it together so that you could obtain a result. Obtain a result. The silent architecture gap that's destroying your execution. Execution is a key word. It's implementation of the Mach 4 architecture system, and I'll explain that to you. And it'll make 100% sense to you. Now, for those of you that did the assignments or replied back to me, I didn't make it very difficult. You get the controller codex. You get the updated, upgraded controller codex. And it has even more details than what we've gone over in the last several days. I want you to feel the sense of accomplishment, but it really wasn't that difficult. But for those of you watching this that didn't do that, it's like, why didn't you? You're giving 4 or 5 days to do it. Now, for some of you, you might have had some urgent matter, emergency come up in your life. That's understandable. And if that's the case, then you have to take a look at it and say, okay, at least it's a conscious resonance of what you're doing. A conscious resonance. Now, we look at it from a perspective of mind force, mission, and moves. And we also have the 3 tectonic shifts. But I want you to do a quick exercise, about 30 seconds, from your gut and describe the result that you produce, whatever you do. Not your process, not your credentials, the result. I want you to start with the mind force. What do you produce? What are your results? Now, I want you to re-articulate as you go through that using the 3 words, mind, force, mission, and moves. The gap between what you just said in the first time and what you say now. You see, that's your editing target, if you will. And that's really a key. The mind force is the mindset. The mission is what is it that you're looking to accomplish. And that really ties into the 3 tectonic shifts. What is your mission for vitality? What is your mission for mindset? What is your mission for financial? And then the moves. What are the moves that are going to take you from where you are to where you want to be? And it doesn't really matter where you're at on the scale of any one of those. So for example, you could be extremely wealthy right now. You could have a great mindset, but physically you feel run down, no energy, bad sleeping. You could be in perfect physical shape, ugly duck syndrome, mindset's bad, and financially you're a mess. So again, that's what I want you to think about. That's what I want you to come to the conclusion of what makes sense. Because one of the things that does make sense is that there is an architecture gap You've got knowledge and you've got execution, and there's this gap in between. And we use the mindset architecture, the vitality architecture, and the prosperity architecture in order for you to cross that gap. If you look at this slide, you got to get over the gap. And everyone's gap's going to be different, as I mentioned. But just know this, very few people have all three of these in line. You see, this is the three dimensions where your controller architecture is either holding or fracturing under pressure. And everyone has pressure. You see, some people address one or two of these, but not all three. Some address two because the gap between what you know and what you execute is never just one thing. It lives at the crossroads. And until all three are addressed, the gap stays open. Let me show you what each one actually looks like in terms of that. So there are three dimensions where the controller architecture either holds or fractures. And we've talked about that. Okay. Most high performers are strong in one and weak in the other. They all interconnect: mindset, vitality, prosperity. They all intersect. And what you have to determine is which one of these is your weakness, which one of them is your strength. And then the other byproduct is they compound on each other. Mindset is probably the overarching one. If I had to say which one is the most important, mindset really controls all the other ones. Great mindset, you can get in great shape. You can take care of your finances with a great mindset. That's why you need to work on it all the time. Before I show you what the mindset shift actually does, I want you to understand that there are many people that I've coached over the years that came to me and said, my mindset, my relationships are suffering. I don't know why I sabotage myself, my relationships. And the thing is, we've all done it. And here's what I know after 20 plus years of working with high performance men and women, your emotional responses aren't happening to you. You see, they're firing from a pattern that was installed through experience and through repetition, through the stories that you've been telling yourself about what pressure means. The pattern runs automatically. Just as we went into the 4-second rule, it ran automatically that 4 seconds. Most people never examine it because they're too busy living inside of it. But here's the truth. That pattern is not fixed. It's not your personality. It's not your destiny. It's really a neurological pathway. And neurological pathways can be rebuilt through systematic, deliberate execution of the right protocols. That's not motivational language. That's neuroscience. And so that's the goal, is the installation architecture. That should make sense to you. And when you look at it from the perspective of the three implementation key pillars of automatic execution. Mindset, you're going to have a sharpened vision, clear decision, stay focused. Vitality architecture, optimize health, manage energy, boost performance. And then prosperity architecture is strategic sprints, focus priorities, scale up. The question is where, again, the question you have to ask yourself all the time, where am I at in each one? Scale of 1 to 10. Now, you can use a scale of 1 to 5. You can use an ABCD method because everybody's different. And what you relate to is going to be different than what I relate to. And so that's how I look at it. You see, every controller that I've worked with has triggers. The difference between a controller and a reactor isn't really the absence of emotional triggers. It's the response architecture that activates the moment a trigger fires. Reactors get hijacked. Controllers get data. Rejection becomes redirection. Disappointment becomes data. Failure becomes a feedback loop. Criticism becomes intelligence. The same event, two completely different outcomes, depending entirely on what's installed at the response level. These are keys. These are keys that most people will never tell you, not because they don't want to tell you. It's because they don't understand the architecture. You see, that's what happens when this first shift is installed. It's not a mindset adjustment, it's a response architecture upgrade. If you have a new computer, it's virtually useless without the software, without the architecture, without it being installed. The other thing is you could have a great computer and you could have the software sitting in a box, if they still make software in a box, or it's on your hard drive and you don't install it, it doesn't work. Well, the same thing's true with you. You've got to do an installation of what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, what it is that is going to bring you to the point of where that works. That's the mindset, the mind force, mission, and the moves. It's an automatic execution. When all three install, execution becomes your default state. It becomes your default state. You don't have to think about it, it already is there. You see, here's what I hear from constantly. I hear this constantly from driven people. I'll focus on my health when things slow down. Not prosperity, vitality. They say, I'll focus on my health when things slow down. Things don't slow down. The season of pressure doesn't end, they evolve. Your body is not separate from your performance, it is your performance vehicle. Every decision you make, every protocol you execute, all of it runs through a physical system that either has the energy and the reserves to support it. You see, pushers override the signals, they just keep pushing, which leads to more health issues. Reactors surrender to them. I'll never get in shape. Controllers optimize that distinction and the entire difference between a boom bust energy cycle and sustained high performance. I've been teaching this for over 20 years through my energy mechanics and help people to create not only more energy, but to create better sleep, better activity. Now, that doesn't relate necessarily to being in great shape or anything like that, although it is there. I've trained people and they've said, hey, do I need to have a six-pack abs? No, you don't. If that's something you want, you can certainly do that. And one of the things that when we look at physical, just to give you an idea, is that physical, there's two things when you look at physical, right? So if this is the body, right, you've got the internal and the external. The internal is the internal is the energy, right? That is supporting your system. And then you've got the external, how you look, the type of, let's say, fitness you're in. But how many times do we see a fitness enthusiast? How many times do we see a professional bodybuilder or athlete drop dead? Because, and if you looked at them, they look fantastic. I remember one of my clients, they came to the conclusion of this when they were taking a spin class. And one of the guys that was in the spin class was super fit, low body fat. Look, I mean, looked great 45, 50 years old, taking the spin class, and then he drops dead during the spin class. Why? Because his internal body was not the same as his external body. And so that's why you have to keep your organs balanced. That's why you've got to keep your energy balanced. That's why you've got to learn meditation to keep your body, mind, and spirit relaxed. You can't get away from it. There's no way you can get away from it. And yet some people try to. Some people really try to get away from it, but it really doesn't happen. You see, the average person experiences fatigue and they interpret it as weakness. A controller looks at the same signal and asks a fundamentally different question. What is my system communicating to me? And what does intelligent optimization look like right now? See, fatigue is an energy management signal. It's not a weakness. Pain is information, not a reason to stop, not something to override blindly. You see, physical limitation is an adaptation to change. It's not a ceiling. Controllers don't fight their physical signals. They extract the intelligence that those signals carry. You see, you need a performance architecture. That's the energy. That's the meditation. That's getting yourself into a state of relaxation. Because when you can get your body, mind, spirit to a state of relaxation, guess what? You sleep better. Stress rolls off you. That's just the way it is. And when you understand how these are so important, it'll make much more sense to you. Now let's see here. Let's go into the third tectonic shift. And that third tectonic shift is prosperity shift. Your financial results aren't suffering from bad luck, bad timing, bad market conditions. They're suffering from an unconscious response. It's a pattern that activates with precision at the exact moment you need clarity the most. You see, it shuts down the rational decision-making capacity that you need to navigate at that moment very well. You see, I've watched smart, sophisticated entrepreneurs make decisions under financial pressure that never make in a calm state. What does that tell you? The market didn't beat them. Their response architecture did. And that's entirely flexible. Here's what's extraordinary. When financial pressure, when you understand it really correctly, it really creates a clarity that comfortable circumstances never produce. If your architecture is installed to receive that signal rather than be overwhelmed by it, you get amazing results. And the financial realm is more than just how much money you earn. It's so much more than your net worth. It really is the prosperity consciousness. It really comes down to how do you manage that money? Because there's some people that I've worked with that were earning seven figures a year, over $1 million a year. And yet they had very little to show for it because they were spending it like a drunken sailor. Now, why were they doing that? Because they had a mindset, a prosperity consciousness that if they don't spend it, they're not going to get it back. They had that in the back of their mind, even though they wouldn't come out and say that out front. Of course, they're not going to say that. But and they may have had even more debt than they needed to take. So how were they even better off than somebody earning $100,000 a year? They probably weren't. But you see, it's the mindset shift, it's the vitality, it's the financial, it's working all in tandem. Another one of my clients, over a $30 million net worth, earning seven figures a year. However, he believes he has to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, because he was raised from a poor family that he could lose it at any moment. And so that's his mindset, even though he's far more wealthy than many, many people. And he keeps everything in check. He's got a lot of money in the bank. He lives very modestly. He doesn't drive an over the top car. But again, it's mindset. And I said to him, I said, Raji, you can buy any car you want. You want a Rolls Royce, a Bentley, a Mercedes, you can buy it. And you have to give yourself the ability to say, I deserve it. I've done good. And that I can continue. But you see, what's running in this gentleman's mind is the fact that he's got this money, but he doesn't want to lose the money. And he's fearful of that. And so, again, that mindset creates a vitality shift that is, like I said, working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, because he feels that's the only way. He feels if he doesn't go in every day, that something's going to be lost. And so we had to restructure that mindset. Now, did that happen overnight? There's no way, because that architecture was installed from when he was a little boy. So we had to do it a little piece at a time. Take Sundays off. Cut back from 10 hour or 12 hours to 10, and then from 10 to 8, and then from 8 to 6. Same results, less work. Cut it in half. To some of you, it's like, if I had that kind of money, I wouldn't be concerned. Well, maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. You don't know until you walk in another man's sandals. You see, conviction always defeats willpower. Always. The controller who operates from absolute conviction in their financial decisions will consistently outperform the one relying on discipline and effort alone. It's one of the 6 powerful laws of the mind inside of the Instant Mind Force book. If you haven't read that book, you should. Financial pressure is clarity, intensification. You get intensified on your clarity. You see, investment mistakes or losses is market tuition. What that means is you're getting information back, you're getting data back. While reactors are selling in panic mode, pushers are grinding harder on a strategy that is just push, push, push. And the controllers are executing a precise pivot with full conviction. That's not natural talent. That's installed architecture. It's absolutely installed architecture. And that's the 3 tectonic shifts: mind force or mindset, vitality, prosperity. 3 dimensions with one integrated system. Here's what separates controllers who get good results from controllers who get extraordinary results. It's all about the integration. When all 3 shifts are installed and operating simultaneously, they don't just add together, they multiply exponentially. Emotional command sharpens physical energy. And this is key. I want you to understand this. So, emotional, which is mindset, the emotional command sharpens the physical energy, the vitality. Make sense? And the physical energy intensifies the financial clarity. Financial clarity reinforces emotional sovereignty. The whole system becomes self reinforcing. Controllers don't wait for that state to appear, they build it, they install it, they create the architecture. That's precisely what I'm about to show you with your permission. I would love to be able to show you is maybe just take 15 minutes and share with you a system that has put high performing executives and entrepreneurs in a position where the mindset fracture, that silent identity gap, is no longer a concern, where the vitality depletion is no longer a concern, and where the prosperity ceiling, that pattern of earning without keeping, is no longer a concern. 3 to 4 seconds, we talked about that. What I'm about to share is not a course, it's not a download, it's an architecture installation across all three tectonic shifts simultaneously. Because a partial installation produces partial results. And you didn't come here for partial. You see, I spent 20 plus years building this, testing it, breaking it, and then rebuilding it across thousands of practitioners, dozens of countries. It's not theory, it's not inspiration, it's field tested precision methodology. You don't have 20 years, you don't need them. I've done the work. I can compress what took me 2 decades into what takes you weeks because the architecture is now transferable. I'm transferring from my mind to yours completely. Some of you have already read the Controller Codex, the first version. Some of you have already read the Instant Mind Force book. Maybe some of you have even read my immersion book. You've run the diagnostic. You know whether you're operating as a reactor, a pusher, or a controller. And what I'm going to share with you is how this plays out in the real world. And I think it'll make sense to you. And that is, it's the evolution of mastery and implementation. You see, each level addressing these three tectonic shifts is at increasing depth. And this is how you learn just about anything. Mach 1 is the Instant Mind Force book. It's the Controller Codex. It's the Mindset Kit. It's the 6 laws. It's the best place to start. Maybe not the best place to start, but it's a starting point. It's Mach 1. And we're looking at speed of delivery. We're looking at speed of architecture, speed of installation. Mach 2 is the C3, Command and Control Core. The 12-week execution engine. Self-directed installation. It's DIY. Mach 3 is 12-month annual group coaching. Takes you through the same C3 for the first 12 weeks, and then you get 12 months. Today, I have a special offer for you on that one. And then Mach 4. Mach 4 is application only. Custom architecture that is intensive, private, personal. I'm in the cockpit with you. Same architecture, different speeds, different depth. The only question is how fast you need to go. That's what it comes down to. Now, in the Mach 4, the application is my $299 deep dive. The reason I do that is there's no reason to have you come into Mach 4 if we don't have an understanding of if I can even assist you. That's what most coaching programs never do. And that's the way it is. Anyone should be open to the idea that you can install all three of these tectonic shifts simultaneously. Install them, not just teach them, so they fire automatically without effort. Under pressure, your emotional response is no longer as hijacking your decision making. Your physical energy is no longer the limitation on your output. Your relationship with money is no longer carrying the weight of whatever story was handed to you. And we've all been handed stories about money. I noticed that individuals that were raised with money have a totally different concept of it because they've been installed on architecture throughout their life that money is available. Look, on the flip side, it's like money and no money. That architecture, it's a sliding scale. You see? You want to be supporting, calibrating inside a community of controllers, running the same protocols at your level. And then you no longer really need me. You stand alone, rooted, in command, a life by design, no longer a life in default. Anyone find that interesting? That's what you're investing in when you invest in the mock system. The mock system is unique. As I mentioned, we start with the Instant Mind Force book. You probably already have it. Have you read it? Have you implemented it? The mindset kit. Have you implemented it? Just like we went through with the 4 videos. Have you done that? This is, like I said, this is Mach 1. This is speed level 1. Speed level 2 is Mach 2. C3 execution engine. $497, 12 weeks. This is for you. It gets you the start to get the architecture going. This is your next best step. Mach 3 is group coaching. It's normally $1,997. Today, as you're watching this video, I'll make an offer within 24 hours. You can get the Mach 3 for $997. Again, this is a yearly coaching program, $997. We're going to take you through the C3 system and then balance it off with a full year. Mach 4 is your custom architecture. That's a one-on-one working collaboration with me. It's $5,000 for 12 weeks. Personal one-on-one training. It's the ultimate in high touch. It's the ultimate in the speed. That's why it's Mach 4. And the only way you can get access to Mach 4 is by setting up a $299 deep dive call. Now, inside that deep dive call, we're going to set a trajectory right inside that deep dive call that you're going to get. You're going to get everything in that deep dive call. And then if you want to go to the Mach 4 the rest of the 12 weeks, we apply that $299 to the 5, and we're already started. We're already off to the races. And every other week, you and I have a bi-weekly call where we go into details of exactly what you want. That's the deep dive implementation call, $299. If you really want to up it, you can do Supreme Mastery, same thing. You got to do the $299 call. That's $12,500 for 6 months. And again, I'm in the cockpit with you. This is weekly coaching. We're back and forth weekly texting, however you want to use it. Plus, with this one, you get once a quarter, which would be 2 with the 6-month package. You get 2 on-site days with me. So once a quarter, we get together for 1 day personally. I either come to you or you come to me. If I come to you, obviously you would pay the expenses of me coming to visit with you. If you come to me, I pick up everything. So it's totally up to you. That's the supreme manifestation of what's there, if that makes sense. And here's the thing. The Mach system is really the highest evolved system. Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3, Mach 4, and that's Mach 4 Supreme. Mach 3 today, $997. It's the way to go. You get the Mach 3 and you get a year of support, 12 months. It's where I want to take you. It is exactly what you're looking for. And let me just comment on one thing. Someone always says to me, well, will it work? Will it work for me? Here's my guarantee, and I want you to hear every word of this clearly. If you complete all of the required moves, execute every protocol, across all three tectonic shifts: mindset, vitality, prosperity. And within 12 months, you have not experienced a measurable breakthrough in at least one of the three dimensions, I will not only refund every dollar you invested, I will pay you an additional $1,000 out of my own pocket. Not because I expect it, but because in 20 plus years of coaching using this system, and it was a far not as good a system as what you've got right now, it's never failed. Not a single time. When the individuals working it actually made all the required moves. Not once. The only protection I keep is this: the guarantee requires that you do all the moves. But in order to get results, you need to do the moves in order to make it happen. It's not a loophole. That's the entire point. The moves are the system. Execute the system, and the results are guaranteed. You can find below some of those options. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me by email, by chat. If you want to set up a quick 15-minute call, we can certainly do that to go over any of the nuances. My recommendation, go with the $299 deep dive implementation call, 60 to 90 minutes of personal diagnostic session, complete M3 assessment, custom implementation architecture blueprint, C3 engine access, and week by week execution roadmap. This is the best starting point, because we will pivot whichever direction we need to once we do this call. And for some people, you might do this call and say, I'm good. I'll do the call. I'll get the C3. I'll DIY it. I'll do it myself. And some people do that. But for others, this is the start of a relationship with me, with you and I. It's bi-directional, obviously. We have a relationship where I'm going to assist you every step of the way from inception to absolute execution. I'm Perhacs. I really enjoyed sharing this information with you. I hope it's been of value to you. I hope these last couple of days have been of value to you. Go back over your notes. Go back over those exercises and determine where you want to be. And then select the version of the mock system that's going to work best for you. And again, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those questions for you. I'm Perhacs, author, creator, visionary behind the Mind Force method of high performance training and coaching. And I'll see you on the other side.